up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back, and it's the first day of the Sweet 16. So we're going to give you our preview and picks for all the games. Make sure you guys look at our rankings video that's soon to be posted for the Sweet 16, and we'll do one for the Elite Eight for picks, preview, and rankings as well. So let's get into our video today. First, we got 709 CBS. You know, the two favorited teams to be in this spot. You have Gonzaga, Arkansas, and Arkansas, give them credit. They battled adversity these first two games, not winning, by a big margin, but still getting here and winning. But now they get a tough matchup with Gonzaga, and I'm going to go with Gonzaga here. I think 9.5 is a very favorable line for Arkansas because we've seen Gonzaga struggle early in the first half and even in the beginning of second half. So if they can keep it close, I think this will be a close game, kind of like the Memphis game where Gonzaga has to squeak back into it and pull away late. And that's what I see happening here.
Yeah, neither of these teams are exactly dominating their way to this round, especially Arkansas, who really struggled with New Mexico State in a really ugly, low-scoring game. So I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Gonzaga, and I don't think they have the size to match up with Timmy and Holmgren. Center Jalen Williams for Arkansas is only, I think, like 6'9". So then you have two big guys to worry about for Gonzaga. It's just going to be ugly down low.
Then at 729, we got our Wolverines here, but I'm going with Villanova. I think because I'm picking for pride here, not picking some bias. I'm rooting for them, but I think Villanova and Colin Gillespie is going to be the difference because having good guards against Michigan is a recipe for disaster for them. Devontae Jones back and hopefully 100% healthy will be a big boost for them. But the big question for Michigan is going to be Frankie Collins and how many minutes is he going to get? Because these two games, he's the reason why they're still here, and Eli Brooks as well. They've been shooting well enough when now they finally face a really good shooting team where they're going to have to keep up and shoot really good to be in this game. And I just don't see that happening in the second half. Hunter Dickinson will get his. He'll have a great game. But the guards is what's going to make Villanova win this game.
I'm picking my Wolverines in this one. I think Hunter Dickinson, obviously, he's going to get his 20 to 25 if they're going to win this game. Villanova's center, Eric Dixon, only 6'9". So that's a big mismatch down low for Dickinson. And it won't be too bad the other way because Dixon's not a great shooter. So he won't really pull Dickinson out of the paint too much. And then the guards, I think Eli Brooks has been playing really well. So he can kind of match Gillespie a little bit. And if you get the production out of Collins that you've been getting, that's something Michigan never really got in the regular season. So that's what's made him so much better here in March. And you need Caleb Houston to not just lay an egg in this game. He's got to show up, hit a couple threes, and I think Michigan can get this win. I think they actually match up pretty well with Villanova. But please don't turn it over 10 times in the first half because that is not how you pull this upset.
At 9:39, after both of those games are getting over, we have probably the best matchup of the day between the two teams. You got Duke, high-scoring offense, Coach K's last year. Texas Tech, first-year head coach, acting like they're under Chris Beard, and they have the best defense in the country. And I think that's what's going to get it done for Texas Tech. And they're going to end Coach K's career. And the Sweet 16, Texas Tech, the Red Raiders move on to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, the only reason I was leaning Duke earlier is just because of Coach K and the retirement and everything. But Texas Tech's the better team. Anyone who's watched a lot of basketball this season, it's easy to see that Texas Tech is just a better team than Duke all around. Not sure what the status of Griffin is, who was injured against Michigan State. But either way, I think Texas Tech, like you said, their defense can lock down Duke. And I think they're going to end Coach K's retirement. I know everyone wants to see Gonzaga face off with Duke, but I don't think it's going to happen.
In the last game of Thursday night, we have Houston, Arizona, and I'm going with Kelvin Sampson and the Cougars. I just think that Houston is a bad matchup for Arizona. We saw them squeak it out in OT against TCU. And that game, it was refs versus TCU. I hate talking about it, but it really was. TCU really couldn't get a call. Arizona got bailed out multiple times down the stretch, and eventually they won an OT. But I think this time they face a better team, well-coached team. and tournament experience just, off their run last year. And I think it's going to continue here as Houston is going to pull off the upset.
I think this will be a really good matchup. Two really athletic teams. I just don't know if Houston's going to be able to get their offensive rebounds that they usually get with Arizona's size. I do think it's going to come right down to the wire again, like Arizona's last game. But I just think Arizona has the playmakers late in the game that Houston doesn't necessarily have. I'm going with the Wildcats, but wouldn't be surprised if Houston pulls the upset.
And kicking it off on Friday, we got the St. Peter's Peacocks going against Grayson School, the Purdue Boilermakers. And I mean, obviously, we got to pick Purdue, but we're going to be rooting for St. Peter's. Let's be honest. I mean, come on. They're the Cinderella team this year, one of the biggest Cinderellas in recent history. As FGCU, my school, and Oral Roberts last year were the two teams before St. Peter's that have ever made it to the Sweet 16 as a 15 seed. And now it seems like it's just, going to happen again next year as well, just because of unpredictable how March is. But you got to give them credit for getting here. But we'll talk about Purdue and how that 12.5 spread actually is a great spread. Zach Edey, Travion Williams, bad matchup for St. Peter's. But you were saying it before the video, Oscar Tshiebwe for Kentucky, talking about him, but obviously they did a good time matching him up. And now they're here, beat Murray State. So they're just proving all these doubters wrong, and we'll see what that gets them. But unfortunately, I'm going with Purdue. The Boilermakers are moving on to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I think the road comes to an end here. I think Purdue's going to have their way with St. Peter's. I don't think they have an answer for Jaden Ivey either. And obviously, the two trees down low are just going to be too much for St. Peter's. And I know Grayson, though, is probably peeing his pants a little bit about this game. This is like a lose-lose. If you win, no one's going to give you any credit. It's like, oh, you just beat a 15 seed, whatever. But if you lose, you'll never hear the end of it. So these are the scary games as a fan.
But
I do
Michigan
think
State about Middle Tennessee.
They still hear about that. But I am going with Purdue. I think they might cover that 12.5. I'm going to say they will.
7:29. We got the Providence Friars, who I bet against, and I'm never going to do it again. So that's why you see that Providence logo for my pick. But I do think it is a favorable matchup. Al Durham is going to have a spectacular game here to slow down Kansas in that high-powered offense. Ed Cooley, he's had a magical run this year with the Friars, winning the Big East outright in the regular season. And they're just hot right now, beating opponents. As long as they don't have to play Villanova, they should be good. That would be, Final Four matchup. But we're going to see how that goes here. And I think Providence is going to pull off the shocker.
Yeah, Providence is going to win. They got to control the pace of the game, slow down Kansas. But I think Kansas can open up a big lead early and just kind of coast to a win here. They just have so much depth off the bench, and Remy Martin is going to be the difference. He's finally playing up to his potential. So I got to go with Kansas here. A lot more talent than Providence. Providence is going to have to make it a close game at the end because they always win those, but I don't think it will be. I think Kansas pulls away.
And at 9:39, probably the best matchup of the day, North Carolina, UCLA. Blue Bloods facing off yet again. And you got North Carolina, hottest team probably in college basketball that's still playing. And UCLA that has kind of squeaked by to get here. I know they kind of demolished St. Mary's, but that first round game against Akron really shows you don't know which UCLA team you're going to get. Because sometimes you would have that UCLA team in Pac-12 play, get upset, lose by 20. And then you'd have them respond and have a St. Mary's game and beat a really good team by 20. And I think the Akron team of UCLA is going to show up. So North Carolina is going to win. As long as Brady Manick doesn't get kicked out of the game, I think they will win.
Yeah, you got probably the hottest team in the country right now in North Carolina here. But I think UCLA's defense is going to be the difference. We know it all too well as Michigan fans. They can just completely shut really good teams down throughout the entire game. They just need a big performance out of one player, and they'll be able to get it done. And I look for whether it's Juzang, Jaquez, they have a lot of guys who can drop 20 to 25 in any game. So I'm going to go with UCLA here based on their experience and their defense.
In the last game of the Sweet 16, Iowa State, Miami, two teams that no one saw matching up. I don't think a lot of brackets have this picked. But it is a good matchup. The Cyclones, who are not frauds after our talk, have reached the Sweet 16. Same with Miami. a team that no one ever talked about except us a few times this year. And they're here. They're both facing off with a trip to the Elite Eight. But I'm going with the Hurricanes. They're the better coached team. But you got to give Iowa State props. Those 2 wins turned into 22 this year. So they're definitely on the come up.
Yeah, I think both of these teams obviously have great guard play. Their 2 best players are guards for both teams, but Miami's just a better balanced team. Iowa State squeaked past Wisconsin, who was missing Hepburn, and I don't think Iowa State's going to be able to win another game in the 50s like they have in their first 2. I think Miami's guards are better than Iowa State's, and Miami has a little more size, so I'm going to go with the Hurricanes here. They just look like the better team through 2 games after blowing out Auburn.
That's going to be it for the video today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. We are going to be doing our giveaway soon, so make sure you guys are still here for that. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.
She never called back.